Hi, if you're new here, my name is Flossy Roxx.
And this is Siren the Step Van, my tiny home on wheels. And today... So, something I haven't told you yet is I am heading back to the Southern Hemisphere. Good night.
Shiver me timbers.
Your tray table is closed and your window blind is open.
Dear guests, we are descending for landing. Please put your belongings in the overhead lockers
Coming
or
quick,
under
prepare
your
for light.
seat and fasten your seatbelt.
Hi, my name's Flossy Roxx, and I'm writing you from a cabin in the Australian outback in the state of Victoria. I used to live in Melbourne before I moved to the Pacific Northwest of Canada, and I'm back here to check that I'm making the right decision. It's a big one, and I want to make sure I won't regret it.
Mr. Magpie?
I want to buy a wee off-grid cottage, a cabin in the woods soon. I want a bigger space of my own. As much as I love my step van, it's not big enough to be my forever home. So I'm exploring rural parts of Australia, in the state of Victoria, to see if I should be buying a cabin and land back here or back in Canada. If you've ever done a pros and cons list, this is what I'm hoping to come up with. We're currently not far from the Grampians, mountain and forest. The trees and the forests here smell different from back in Vancouver Island. The gum trees have a rich, sappy, aromatic smell. And when it's hot, the eucalyptus trees are heavily scented. It's delicious, and I love the hot, natural aromatherapy of it all. Walking through the forest, I'm on the lookout for snakes bathing in the sun, carefully skirting around spider holes. And I got at least 3 scares from roos or wallabies that I didn't see crashing and bouncing back into the bush when we surprised them on the trail.
Okay, it looks further away. And hopefully it is. Hopefully. Okay, let's do it.
I'm checking twice before I sit down to make sure I'm not sitting anywhere there's biting ants, or my skin would be crawling for hours afterwards. The sky here is massive. Big sky. Back home in Canada, we're always in sight of a range of hills or mountains or a forest or a treescape that picture frame the sky into a smaller shape.
That's beautiful. Look at the pinks and purples and oranges. Thanks.
Have you ever seen a bottle brush plant before?
Looks like a bottle brush. It's a flower. Still from this photo for identification. So spiky. Looks like a little snail. And then this is it. Once it is birthed, the seed. while we're out here. There's been some really big forest fires in this area, so a bunch of the Grampians are inaccessible right now. But we still found some beautiful trails to walk, and it is beautiful. The dirt isn't quite that red colour, but it is a beautiful tan. Some places it's just sand. Then you have these beautiful big plants which make me think of places in the south of America, like Arizona. There's kind of this deserty vibe, full of gum trees and eucalyptus trees and lots of plants that I can identify. And we saw a little baby wallaby grazing on plants, which is very cute, looking out over the rest of the park and into the farmland. And further in the distance we could see big brown patches where it has recently burnt. And I'm on the lookout for snakes, but there have been lots of what I think are spider holes. Yeah, there's a lot of small creatures out here, and also like not wanting to sit down on dusty patches in case there are bitey ants. But it is very beautiful, and it has a different kind of smell to it. But I'm very happy for some sunshine. But again, like the sudden change from cold negative degree weather in Canada to come to Australia and suddenly be in this temperature. Whew. It's going to take a minute to adjust.
Here in the Grampians, there on one side, and flat land stretches out as far as the eyes can see on the other. Expansive, beautiful skies, the kind that make you feel small and full of wonder as you get absorbed in their greatness. Pine trees and their cones litter the ground near an old tobacco kiln building that we are staying in. It's a small, basically one room and a loft, but the brick and the cool evenings seem to keep the place at a beautiful temperature. Leaving the desert behind, the trees, the forests, and the miles and miles and miles of flat farmland behind, we were trying our best to avoid the other people, but still see as much of the ocean as we could. From the Otway Ranges, the surf coast, shipwreck coast, and the lighthouses that dot along the cliffs.
You might not believe it, but we're in a place called Portland, Victoria, state of Victoria in Australia, and by this lighthouse, which is very old. How amazing. Well, a lot of this town is very old, and there are a lot of Victorian era, early 1800s buildings in Portland, Victoria. And it's really beautiful, and it's on the ocean, and we are continuing now up the Great Ocean Road, and I'm really excited at some point in the future, soon, to hop in the ocean and go for a snorkel. Got to find some more information about that, hopefully in one of the next towns, maybe tomorrow.
What is the Great Ocean Road, you might ask? This is an Australian National Heritage listed 240 kilometres, which is 150 miles, stretch of road along the southeastern coast of Australia. winding through varying terrain along the coast and providing access to several prominent landmarks,
From the 1800s.
including the 12 Apostles, which we were going to go to later on in the trip. The limestone stack formations, this road is really popular with tourists. But more than any tourist destination, all I wanted to do was hop in the ocean and swim.
got out of the ocean and it was really beautiful. It is windy and warm. The ocean is 22 degrees and I have a 3mm wetsuit. And I saw lots of fish, one sea star. It's a very stripy fish. It's a very green and rainbow fish. It's beautiful. And I went all the way out to the surf break, and the surf break is where most of the life was. It was really wonderful. My poor partner was sitting on the beach reading and simultaneously stressing about where I was and how far out I'd gone. But oops, I'm a strong swimmer, so everything was good. Yeah, you're coming slightly closer, but I feel like you're using these trees as a safety barrier. They're all looking at me. Hello? Hello. Hi, how are you? Hi, how are you, Mr. Cow? Yes, hi, hello, how are you, Mr. Cow? Mr. Cow. Oh, hello, hello, hello. I've been singing to the cows that are here, and they're all standing there staring at me, and it is very funny because I heard that singing for cows makes them curious. Mind you, people who can actually sing or play actual beautiful musical instruments, I am not one of those people. Oh look, maybe they're gonna get bored and go somewhere else. Yep. Bye! And they run off in a cloud of dust. It's so funny. Such crazy creatures. Anyway, it's time to take the wetsuit out of the car, hang it up to dry somewhere, and eat dinner because I'm hungry. I'm starving. Look at these very long rural country roads. And this is where we're staying.
We were fascinated by the villages and towns along the way, which had such rich and deep and somewhat old colonial history. This town being the most Irish town in Australia, settled back in the 1800s. The buildings, the culture was still well kept alive. An Irish dinner or husband babysitting service, anyone? So funny. Thank you again so much for watching. It was my pleasure to bring you the first of several episodes in Australia, where I'm comparing life in Canada with life in the slightly warmer at this time of year southern hemisphere. If you haven't already, please hit the thumbs up button and the subscribe button or the notification bell. It means a lot. It is free to do so, and you are helping me out a ton. My Patreon's over there, getting behind the scenes and real-time updates as I'm back in Canada now. Thank you all so much for your endless support and care. And I'll see you all next week. Bye.